Okay, so I'm going to throw up a couple of videos to show you guys how to create a bootable USB drive, and particularly the USB stick. So right now we're going to start with the Windows operating system, and then I'll show it on a Mac, and then also on Linux itself. So for Windows, one of the utilities that can do that is called Rufus. It's open source, and so we can download that. I've actually already done that, so I've got it right here in my download folder. It's totally self-contained, so you don't have to install it. You just click yes when you want to run it, and then I've already got my I had my USB stick plugged in, so as you can see when you unplug it, it knows that I'm going to have to turn off the game stuff. So plug it back in, and it's going to pop up. My Windows automatically opens when I plug a stick in. What I want to make sure is that it's the 8 gig one, and it is. You don't really want to use a 4 gig or a 16 gig. 4 gig is just too small for some of the ISOs, which are the files that we're going to be using to burn onto these sticks. And then 16 gig is really just kind of a waste. So what I've got selected at present is what we want, the FAT32 by default. And we don't have to worry about the label really, because it's going to kind of pull that off of the image itself. And then we want to make sure we've got the right image selected. So in this case, I've already downloaded the Red Hat 7.4 ISO from their site. You could use really any ISO. I mean, if you're trying to use this for operating systems, Ubuntu for Linux, as Linux, or Red Hat lets you use their software for development only. Can't go commercial. And then you also have some issues with trying to get the updates and things for it. But if you use Red Hat at your office, you can download this and you play with it around the house and get more familiar with it. So at any rate, digress on that. Let's go ahead and click open and make sure that we've got the create bootable. We do, and still selecting this. It can select any USB drives that you've got plugged in, and unless you really want the whole external drive bootable Red Hat image, you probably don't want to do that. So just make sure that you've got the proper stick. Also, this is going to erase everything that's on that stick, so if you've got any photos or other files, don't expect this to add stuff to it. It's going to whack them. So, but it also tells you that whenever you hit the start button here. So let's hit start, and then we're going to go ahead and write it in the recommended mode. And DD is just really just a flat out copy. It's like bit for bit version. So we'll give this a shot. And there you go. So it's going to destroy the data that's on the stick. And then away it goes. And I'll speed this up in post-processing so you don't have to sit here and wait forever. Since I have Windows configured to open on a stick being mounted, it's just done that. And of course you can see some of the files that are showing up there as it creates this. This normally is not what you'd see with an ISO. Normally the DD mode is what you traditionally think of whenever you're burning these things, because you're really just taking an image of a disk, a bootable disk for example, Windows or Linux, and copying it to a stick so that you can put the stick in the USB port on a computer and boot off of that. Not all computers support that, but those made in probably the last 10 years should. A little bit later in the series, I'm going to be walking through how to use this stick to install this copy of Red Hat on a small HP desktop that I got refurbished. It's a 2-core with I think 4 gig of RAM and about a 500 gig hard drive. Makes a great little test platform for here at the house. All right, so there we finished, and it's 24 minutes and 21 seconds into the video. So obviously you guys didn't have to wait that long, because when you're watching this, this last part was sped way up. So a couple things that I thought about while this was recording. So if this doesn't work for you, depending on the machine that you're trying to boot it on, you may need to play around with the partition here. So this one's for the EFI. There are other options, for example, the for BIOS schemes and so forth there. And some of the options that you pick here may or may not take off the bootable option down here. So you just kind of have to play around with it. But for the most part, the options that I've got selected here should work. Also, just FYI, I want to read this one took so long to build this this image on the stick was. I'm pretty sure I've got a USB 2 stick, maybe even a USB 1, and my machine is USB 3, but of course it's weakest link in the chain. So since the stick is slow, so if you're in a hurry, put a newer stick in there. But these things are pretty good for keeping images around, and unless you're building a lot of them. You don't necessarily need to go with a USB 3 stick. I'll put up a video or two later on how to build machines in mass, but right now we're just going for the basics on how to get these created. So hope this works for you. So what we do now is go ahead and pop out the stick. Well, actually it's easier to just do it right here. I can do a eject. Most of the time you can just pull it out, but this is the safest way. And of course it tells you, that it's safe to remove it now. And then we can go put that in a smaller machine that we're going to build here in a little bit, and boot from it. And that would be part 2 of this video. So I guess I'll be doing like part A, B, and C or something for the various operating systems. So the next one that we're going to come up, we're going to build this exact same image on the stick with using OS X, or the Apple's operating system, and then we'll also do it again with Linux itself. So thanks for watching.